Okay, so today what we're going to do is we're going to compare this Schecter AM6, this is the Aaron Marshall model, with this Sterling JP150D. This is the John Petrucci model with the DiMarzio pickups. I think it's a fair comparison. Both of these are what I would consider top-of-the-line import models. They're both made in Indonesia. They're both priced about the same. I think the Schecter is $13.99 MSRP, and the Sterling is $12.99. So roughly the same price. Now, I've been looking for a guitar that could handle higher gain sounds. Recently, while I was working on some John Petrucci tones or some Guthrie Govan tones, it was becoming very apparent that all my guitars are very vintage in terms of spec and the types of pickups and things like that. So I wanted something a little more modern. And in searching around, one of the things, if you saw my video on the Eastman semi-hollow, you'll know that I'm kind of against getting Seymour Duncan pickups in guitars these days. And I wanted something that was a little more unique. So these two kind of floated to the top of the list. They both got really good reviews. I figured, let's check them out. So what I want to do today is kind of run through some of the similarities and differences in these guitars, and then we'll compare some sound samples here and there just to see how they sound. I did do longer videos on each guitar. You can go look at those to get kind of a more in-detail review of any of the issues I found or all the tones. But today I just want to compare them to each other. So let's start off with generally, these are both kind of super strat style guitars. Weight-wise, the Schecter I bought from Sweetwater, so I know it's 7 pounds, 13 ounces, I believe, so almost 8 pounds. The Sterling is a little bit lighter, so I would probably put this at 7.5 pounds. I do wish the Schecter was a little lighter, but it's not overly heavy. In terms of the tuners here, you've got locking tuners on both guitars. Both guitars, the tuners work great. I have no issues with them. You've got, in terms of the nuts, they're both synthetic. They're both pretty well cut and feel good. The Sterling could be maybe a little lower in some of the nut slots, but otherwise it's fine. I will say the Schecter is, I think, a little narrower at the nut than the Sterling is. In terms of the fretboards, they both have ebony fretboards with jumbo stainless steel frets, so that's nice. The Sterling, I think, is a flat 16-inch radius all the way down, where the Schecter is a 12 and 16 compound radius. And both the neck profiles aren't too thin, aren't too thick. They're both kind of a very comfortable C. Like I said, I do think the Schecter is a little smaller down here near the nut than the Sterling is, but both are pretty comfortable, and neither is a shape that would be a deal breaker, I would think. In terms of the bodies, this is a basswood guitar, and this is mahogany with a maple veneer. And as you can see, both have dual humbucker pickups, although the Schecter has a 5-way switch that allows you to get some in-between positions. That this position gives you a single coil on the neck, and this position gives you dual single coils, bridge and neck. So I think you get a lot more versatility in the pickup configurations of the Schecter versus the Sterling here is just a 3-way switch. And I will also say that the positioning of the 3-way switch on the Sterling has been an issue for me. The way I hold my hand when I pick, I'm banging into that a lot. So I do like the ergonomics of the controls on the Schecter better. In terms of the knobs, they both have very comfortable knobs that feel high quality. They have like rubber around the edges, so it's very comfortable to adjust. The bridges are pretty similar. They're both 2-point tremolos. You do have, if you look at the back here, you've got more cutaways for access on the Schecter than you do on the Sterling, but both of them, it's pretty easy to get to the upper parts of the neck. And then if you look down here, you can see where the battery casing is on the Sterling. That's because the Sterling has a built-in boost. So the volume is a push-push to enable that boost. And it's, I believe, a 12 dB boost on board on the guitar. So overall, I think the guitars are pretty comparable. I think in terms of aesthetics, I think the shape of the Schecter is maybe a little more elegant in my mind, but they both look really good. The maple veneer on the Sterling is really nice as well, although I think it could be matched a little better. In terms of the pickups, I will say the pickups on the Sterling are hotter than that on the Schecter. The Schecter pickups are a little lower power and a little brighter, and the DiMarzios that are in the Sterling are hotter and warmer. So I think generally when you combine the mahogany guitar with the warmer, higher output pickups, you get a little more fullness out of this guitar, and this has a little more bite to it. So I'm not saying which one's better or worse. I think they both sound good for what they do, but they do sound different. I will say in terms of out-of-the-box quality, the Sterling had a lot more issues with it than this Schecter. The Schecter, the only thing I had to do was lower the saddles a little bit just to get the action a little lower. The Sterling had some issues with, the frets needed polishing, and the screws for the tremolo plate weren't necessarily going in straight, and so getting the bridge to float right was a little problematic. I had a problem with the input jack on the Sterling. So overall, I think the Schecter has a higher quality out of the box in this price point. I will also say that the Schecter did not come with a gig bag, but the Sterling does. So you got a little more there in the box with the Sterling. So let's plug these in and do a few tone comparisons just to hear the differences in the sounds. Again, if you want to hear more in-depth sounds of each guitars, you can check out the specific videos I did on each one. But today we'll just compare how they're different. All right, so let's start with the Schecter. I'm using my Quad Cortex, and I'm on a preset that I created that's using a Victory Kraken model. Right now I'm on a clean tone. Let's hear how it sounds. So you can hear it's a warm, but it has a good clarity to it. If we swap that out for the Sterling, you hear a little higher output, so it's pushing that amp model a little more, maybe into breakup territory. So the nice thing about the Schecter is you get some more tonal options. So if I put it in the fourth position, I get a single coil sound from the neck. And then I still have my in-between position with the two humbuckers. And then I even have, in the two position, I get two single coil sounds, one from each humbucker. So I think you get a lot more versatility from the Schecter than you do from the Sterling. Now on the Sterling, you do get an in-between position. But you just don't have as much variation in how it sounds as you can get from the Schecter. But the bridge pickup on the Sterling, if we play that with a clean tone, you can hear it's pretty warm. It doesn't get too spiky. If we compare that to what the Schecter sounds like, you can hear the Schecter's bridge pickup has a lot more top end push to it. So you're going to get a lot more kind of bite from this guitar than you will from the DiMarzio on the Sterling. So let's go to some low gain sounds and hear how they sound. So here's the Schecter on its neck pickup. And we even have that single coil sound. We've got our two position with the two single coils. So a lot of versatility on this one. So you can hear that it's pushing that amp model more. You're getting more crunch. You're getting a fuller sound, a warmer sound. And I think it's a really nice kind of blue sound from this kind of guitar. And you got the in-between setting too. And this one you can even use the bridge. You can hear that it's even pushing kind of the low gain sound. If I was playing a single coil guitar, this tone is very lightly overdriven, but with this guitar, it really pushes it. So let's go to some higher gain stuff, and we'll start with the Sterling. You can hear a nice full sound, even when you're on the neck. One of the things I like is it's maintained clarity even on the low strings on the neck pickup. So even though it's a warmer sound, it doesn't start to get muddy when you go low on the neck position, which I like. You can hear it's got a lot more bite on the top end, and you get a lot more clarity from it, where it's, with the Sterling, I kind of want to stay with those power chords because they're so full and warm and they sound really good. With this one, it's just kind of natural to start kind of arpeggiating some of the notes. I don't know, it just seems to want to play that way. And so I think a lot of that comes down to kind of the sonic feedback you're getting of how the pickups react to the amp model. And this one, you can hear the neck pickups is also pretty clear. And in between, you could even do the 2 position with the 2 single coils. So again, both guitars shine with these tones. They just sound a little different. Let's do a lead tone here. You can hear it. You get that really kind of nice punch through with this bridge pickup. And the neck is pretty smooth. Let's compare it to the Sterling. So the Sterling, you can hear it, it's a lot warmer on the top end, so you don't get as much of a pick attack. You still get it, it's still there, but it's a little softer than it is on the Schecter. If we go to the neck humbucker, nice kind of smooth liquid kind of sound. So like I said, despite some of my issues about this guitar in terms of out-of-box quality, it does sound really good. And I think if you're looking for this kind of higher output, warmer kind of tone, this would be a good choice, where the Schecter is going to give you kind of more of that bite. So overall, I would say these can both be good guitars. I do have a little issue with the amount of small out-of-the-box problems I had with the Sterling, where the Schecter came out of the box pretty much pristine and perfect. So that's something to consider. In terms of tone, with the Schecter, you're getting a little less output on the pickups, a lot more top end to it, especially on the bridge. Whereas with the DiMarzios on the Sterling, you're getting higher output, kind of a warmer overall tone. But both handle gain pretty well. It's just really up to you as to what you're looking for in terms of the tone you're going for. For me, I think the Schecter wins. You get higher quality, it has more versatility. I just think overall it's a better guitar for the money. The Sterling's not bad. Just keep in mind, every Sterling I've played has had small issues with it that you have to address. Once you get through those, you do get a good guitar. But for me, when I think about these guitars, this one just does not have the feel of a well put together guitar. There's all these small issues that just say, there were mistakes made when it was put together. Where this one just feels very precise and perfect. So for me, the Schecter's the keeper. The Sterling's going to go. So I hope you found this helpful if you're considering buying either one of these guitars. And once again, thanks for watching.